If he did not actually drop out of the race, and if he did not actually endorse Kamala, who is in control of the country? If the president is not even in charge of his own Twitter account, who is in charge of the country? If interns are able to write a resignation on behalf of the president and an endorsement on behalf of the president, what else is being done globally on behalf of the president?
Everyone's a victim!
Shout out to TikTok Live. What's going on, folks? Good to see you. And to the people out there, we should be live on X, Facebook, and YouTube as well. Appreciate you all for tuning in. I am Gerard Michaels. This is Gerard versus Evil. Very soon, we'll be going live every day, Monday through Friday, 4 to 5. Maybe, I think 3:30 to 4:30 is probably better. 3:30 to 4:30, we'll be going live, digesting the news of the day in a fun, palatable way that we do in our fun little mixture of black pill, white pill. I guess this is more of a gray pill, right? What's gray and red? We're red pilled, we're white pilled, we're black pilled. So I don't know, whatever color that comes out to. What are we, maroon? Are we rose? Is this a rose pilled? We have Skylar Kelly over there in the booth. Skylar Kelly. So again, if there's problems with the levels, bully him until he gets better. Skylar, how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing well, pal. Now, we had an interesting conversation off air about who is behind what and pulling which strings. And I think that is the topic of the day. I come out of the weekend very eerie, you know, with the news that Joe Biden has abdicated. Well, he hasn't. He's still the quote-unquote president, even though nobody has seen him. But he is not running for re-election. The most popular president in United States history, 81 million votes, more votes than anybody, more votes than Trump, more votes than Obama. You know, and this is, everybody's talking about this. J.D. Vance brought it up. How are we to believe that the guy who is not capable of running for president is capable of being president for the next, 6 months? Why would we allow that to happen? Why would we, what do we gain as a country by allowing this guy to stay in office? How much more money is a lame duck Joe Biden gonna embezzle? We already know 10% for the big guy. He sent his crackhead son on a worldwide tour soliciting bribes from all of our enemies. What's he gonna do for the next 6 months? The Biden crime family knows that the jig is up. This is it. It's over. Once Biden's out, that's it. Their influence peddling game is over. It's done. Unless Jill Biden can weasel her way into like Gavin Newsom's bed somehow, it's over. Hunter will never be seen again. Jill will never be seen again. Maybe she'll be like a talk show host or something. So you don't think they're going to spend the next 6 months doing everything they possibly can to get as much money as they possibly can out of our coffers? They're going to raid the Treasury. Not that I think Kamala would be any different. Kamala. Remarkable. Brenda, FYI, says if Trump was president, anyone can be president. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point of this country, Brenda. You guys are hilarious. No, only the elites should be president. Only the Ivy Leaguers who come from the blue blood families and the selected demographics that the crown allows. The lords and ladies of the house should be allowed. So ridiculous. So ridiculous, Brenda. That's the whole point. By the way, if Trump can be president, anybody can be president. That's what AOC should be saying. AOC, the bartender, should be out there going, if I can be a congresswoman, you can be a congresswoman. Instead, she says the system is rigged against everybody. Not me, though, because I'm super special. Yeah, who rigs the system? Makes you wonder. Kamala. You remember Kamala in 2020 smiling and giggling on Colbert saying, and these BLM riots, they ain't going to stop. They're not going to stop all summer. This is a movement. Y'all need to get ready. How did she know they weren't going to stop? because the people who back her were the ones financing them. She knew they weren't going to stop because the same people that have now handpicked her and placed her in charge were the ones financing those riots. Not an insurrection, no. No. Absolutely not. It's not a coup. Can't use those words. Those are crazy terms. No. Marching 100,000 people strong on every city capital in America, tearing down statues and painting your flag 100 yards long in front of the Capitol building on every city in America. That's not an insurgency. That is a mostly peaceful protest. You guys think we're morons, I swear to God. You guys think we're morons. Unbelievable. Kamala Harris, what has she done? What has she done that she deserves to be president of the United States? Besides Willie Brown. In a throuple with Montel Williams. What has Kamala done? Giggle and laugh as she puts black men away for jail for 30, 40, 50 years. Life on 3 strikes in San Francisco. Kamala the cop. Laughing about it.
So it looks like we have a comment.
Go ahead.
So Luke himself says the way Secret Service lady failed to do her duties, then refused to answer questions at the hearing, she should be fired and maybe charged.
Yeah, but that's what they do, though, right? She goes in front of Congress, and this has now become Congress has become a joke. Nobody fears Congress. Not that they should. The Congress works for us, but nobody fears lying to Congress. Nobody feels that there will be any sort of accountability because there's not. What's happened to Fauci for lying for years and years? Nothing. What's happened to Mayorkas? Lying, opening the border? Nothing. What's happened to Garland? Garland has weaponized the Justice Department. Nothing. And what will happen to her? Cheadle. Nothing. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. This is Central Party communist stuff, guys. You know, it sounds jingoistic to say that it's communist stuff because we're not in the Cold War anymore. And like, you know, for so long, the Red Scare tactics and McCarthyism was like, oh, everybody I don't like is communist. But here's the truth. This is communist stuff. This is inner party stuff. This is membership has its perks stuff. Down to the fact that in St. Louis, when rioters came, have we lost our TikTok? Let's see here. Sorry, TikTok. When the rioters were going through the suburbs, the one time the rioters got ballsy and went through the suburbs. And those 2 people sat on their front lawn. Democrats with the guns. The Democrats with the guns. That white couple, like everybody's Halloween costume that year. Those Democrats with the guns, those were the ones arrested by the activist DAs. Membership has its perks. Membership has its perks. People on January 6th are going to be in jail for decades, spending years in jail for walking through their own capital, a place their taxes pay for. How many stores in how many cities were burned and looted during the BLM Summer of Love? How many people were arrested? How many people are going to spend decades in jail? Selective justice. You have to have your head completely in the sand to not see it. And if you go along with it, well, then it says something about you, Brenda. It says something about you. If you're okay with the injustice, if you're justifying the injustice, if the ends justify the means, then what world are you actually trying to bring in? Think about it. What worldview do you have, this communist worldview? That if you have to lie about it so frequently, if you have to bend your own rules so frequently, how can it possibly be this noble? How can it?
And it looks like we have a couple more comments.
You could just read the comments, buddy.
So we got Luke himself saying Kamala's parents were U.S. citizens when she was born.
Yeah.
Anchor baby.
Yeah, she's an anchor baby from a Hindu and a Jamaican in Canada.
And Brett Patterson says, look at Kamala, not our fuck up.
Look at Kamala. That's funny. Yeah. It's not a situation that's easily ascertained, right? Nobody knows what to do here. What do we do? And then when the news starts wagging the dog, and all of a sudden for the next 3 months, we see these people, whoever it ends up being, Kamala and Pete Buttigieg probably, because that's who the Democrats are now, right? They're the party of gay men and angry women. Gay men and angry women, that's the party of who the Democrats are. That's their base. So when it's Kamala and it's Pete Buttigieg, we're going to see them. Drew Barrymore is going to be on her knees kissing their feet. The View is going to say this is the most amazing coupling in history. We're going to be force-fed that they're polling through the roof. We're going to be told that the youth of America is so enamored with, a black woman and a gay man and in office, and it's going to be all lies in 100 days. It's going to be all lies. But this way, it'll seem like they had so much momentum and were polling so well that when the blob, the people that rig primaries for the Democrats, rig our election again, it'll be plausible, at least to the useful idiots who have not jumped ship on the Democrat plantation. They just want the simplest excuse. They just want something. They just want one line that they can post online to try to shut everybody up. That's all they really care about. They don't actually care. These people don't care. Democrats don't care whether they're right or wrong. They just care if they're in power. They don't care about America. We really have to understand that we're not operating on the same paths. You saw it with George Santos. Republicans kicked out George Santos for corruption. Democrats kept Bob Menendez in for 30 years. They don't care. They just care about power. They don't care how their team wins. They just want their team to win. And if they get a blurb from ABC that could be like, oh, or they'll put out a confession, right? There's a great article, I believe it was at Newsweek, that did how Democrats and some Republicans came together to fortify the 2020 election, where it laid out the entire steal, but said what? Oh, no, it was legal, though. We made it legal. You made it legal with executive orders enforcing swing states. Then the voting booths went dark. Then they came back and there was 800,000 votes for one guy. Crazy. Whoa, weird. They just assume everybody but them is dumb. They just assume everybody but them is dumb. You can just look at these people and just roll your eyes. You got to understand, the people backing them have been overthrowing elections across the globe since 1945. The CIA has been interfering with elections abroad since 1945 when they rigged an Italian election. How many elections per year? On how many different continents have they been doing it since then? They're pretty good at it. They know what to do. They know how to do it. But they would never do it here. I think Edward Snowden blew the lid off that. The blob, whatever you want to call them, the deep state, the swamp, the Illuminati, who gives a shit what name you give them? Same people. The elites, the global elites, they are done with quote unquote democracy. They're done with it. They're done with populism. They're done with putting the future of what they believe is their planet, their justly earned planet. They're done with putting it in the hands of their housekeepers, of their landscapers, of their mechanics and their plumbers. See, they feel outnumbered. There's so few of them, bright, brilliant, rich, blue-blooded elites, and so many of us useless eaters. So many of us useless eaters.
Yeah, we have a couple comments.
Just read the comments,
Democrats
Skyler.
by Brett Patterson says, Democrats are the party of white guilt and white privilege.
Democrats are the party of white guilt and white privilege. Yeah, there's narcissism in there too. There's no doubt about it.
In addition, he says trust fund babies that pretend that they had a rough childhood.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it.
And Luke himself says Hillary was caught on tape bragging about rigging foreign elections.
Yeah. Hillary was caught on tape rigging foreign elections. She brought in Arab Spring. This is not like conspiracy theory. We did Arab Spring. We did it. We put in Arab Spring. We got rid of Gaddafi. We did that. We do regime change, right? Like the entire Iraq and Afghanistan wars were regime change. When we can't rig it, we go in. This is what we do. Now, that apparatus, which has been focused externally on trying to win the Cold War and getting pro-America regimes in globally, is now turned internally.
We also got Uncircumcised Circus talking about my only expectation of Trump is pardoning the January 6th people. And we have S.C. Hoffman saying California just tried to sell her on her prosecution record. That's about Kamala. And he also said that she has a very successful one disregarding its content. The most recent one, we have John Galati saying, yo, G, rumor has it that POTUS may be already deceased. He hasn't been seen.
Well, John
4
Galati,
days.
man, good to see you, John.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well, John. Jersey, great guy. Is POTUS deceased? Well, they can dispel that conspiracy theory today, right now, right? Like they can just go ahead and put him up in front of a camera, and then then all those Las Vegas conspiracy theories will go away. Just put the man in front of a camera and let him say that he's the one that decided to do this, and that he wrote that letter and that he wrote that tweet. Because if the president of the United States, let's just say the 1% chance he didn't, right? If he did not actually drop out of the race, and if he did not actually endorse Kamala, that's fraud. That's a crime. Who is in control of the country? If the president is not even in charge of his own Twitter account, who is in charge of the country? If interns are able to write a resignation on behalf of the president and an endorsement on behalf of the president, what else is being done globally on behalf of the president? Who is steering the ship? Are we really to believe that Joe Biden is running the country, but he's just letting everybody else do his messaging? Really? That's what you guys are going with? That's the hill you guys are going to die on? There's a sickness in this Democratic Party, man. There's a sickness. There's a saying that power attracts the worst and corrupts the best. I can't think of anything that more aptly describes the 2024 Democratic Party. Power by any means necessary. And I'm sure that there were good people that came in. I'm sure that people that started as Democrats, they started for the right reasons. But they have gone astray. Anybody that supports what the Democratic Party stands for in 2024 is they cannot claim to be a good person. You support censorship. You support othering. You support weaponizing the government against your fellow citizens, your brothers, your neighbors. You can't justify it as, well, it's good. Well, what? You're doing that. You're not a good person. You're not part of a good organization. You're not doing good. You don't do good by doing harm. There is no greater good through evil. Maybe you're too close to it to see that. Or maybe you know it and you're just in too deep. The goalpost has just moved so far from you. Maybe the first time you heard of Seth Rich, you went, oh man, that's rough. But that's politics. Go ahead, Skyler.
All right, so Floyd Christmas says The Secret Garden.
Yeah. Yeah. Frazzle drip. Good people. Nothing but good people. Fast and Furious, nothing but good people. Arab Spring, Benghazi. What difference does it make, she says, after the ambassador that she sent there was skinned alive. Not good people. And every time I say this, the Democrats' response is, but Trump, but Trump. Listen, I'm not claiming Trump's a good person. But I'll tell you this, when he was president, I could afford gas. I could afford groceries. He's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but you guys are so lost. The Democrats have lost their way so much. All I need for a Trump presidency to be a success is to get these people out of power. All I need for a Trump presidency to be a success is to go in, pardon the January 6 hostages. Those are political prisoners. Pardon them. Go in and just release all these files. Get all of our dirty laundry out into the open. Now, in a perfect world, we would absolve the three-letter agencies. All these bureaucracies that were created to fight the Cold War. There is no more Cold War. We do not need them anymore. We do not need the NSA. We do not need Homeland Security. We do not need the FBI. We do not need the CIA. We do not need the IRS. My God. Costs us $6 billion to get $1 billion. I hate that transition.
All right, my bad. It looks like Salika Wad says Stephen B is on a disgusting story arc. Yep, he went astray for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke himself says, national security.
My national security. My national security. All right, they took our security. Yeah. Those three-letter agencies are working against the American citizens. Now they have to go. Irredeemable. 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 Elon Musk got rid of 80% of Twitter's employees, and it works better now. Do the same thing with the government. One stroke of a pen. Gone. Gone. Afuera! Afuera! It's become too big. We have made a golem that we can't control. We have to eliminate as much of it as possible. We have to whittle it down. Because right now, all it does is attack its own people. Does anybody feel like the government is working for them? Does anybody feel like this government has your back? Does anybody have this to believe that this government for a second, even AOC, the most pro-government, overtly and proudly socialist member of our Congress says, when was the last time somebody was happy to see government? When was the last time somebody thought government was helping? This is AOC saying that. Because they don't. They don't. They take from us and they give to their donors. They take the hours of our lives and they send it to wars that we don't want. They buy bombs to kill people we'll never meet in places we'll never go. And then they gaslight people. Oh, you don't want to pay more taxes? You want kids to not eat school lunches? That's not what your taxes go for. Is it? Is it?
So it looks like Just Ice says they agree 100%. All those agencies you were talking about are for a society that's living in fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Brett Patterson says the people that hate Nazis the most became Nazis during the scamdemic.
There's no doubt about it. Did they ever really hate fascism to begin with, or did they just wish that they were in charge of the fascism? Exactly.
Yeah, and he said, no apologies. And apparently Luke himself says lefty YouTubers actually defended the government being the main employer in DC area. So
yeah, there's not. I mean, look, there's people are allowed to have differing opinions. I'm completely okay with people have differing opinions. People can, advocate for centralization, advocate for globalism, and make arguments, right? We had the CIA agent on who made an argument for globalism and an argument for, the whole point of the Soros is the open border society. I mean, that is their pack, right? That's their NGO. So perhaps there is some sort of argument that can be made on an intellectual level. But in application, as we've seen it, it's been nothing but a nightmare and nothing but a disaster, right? And the whole thing with Pete Buttigieg, they just prop people up. Pete Buttigieg has been a disaster at the federal level. Pete Buttigieg, as our transportation czar, He's been a nightmare. He has destroyed domestic travel in America. Look at the price of airplanes from when he took over to where it is now. Look at the amount of flights that are canceled and delayed now compared to when he took over. He has been an abject failure. And that doesn't even bring up what's happened in East Palestine, how he did nothing to either A, stop, prevent that, and then B, to help the people that have been devastated by that disaster that nobody even remembers. Failing up by just willing to be an obedient dog is the new way to get ahead in the Democratic Party. Just tell me what to do. I'll sign the paper. Just tell me what to do. Gavin Newsom has the balls to run for president of the United States after what he's done in California. He should be ashamed. He's turned the word California into a punchline. Don't California my Texas. Don't California my Nashville. Don't California my Florida. He's turned his state into a national punchline. It's the Munson. He's Munsoned his state. California is now synonymous with destroy through stupidity. Don't destroy through stupidity my Texas. They're the worst people on earth. They really are, because they use the best parts of their neighbors. They turn their neighbors into their enemy and use the best parts of them, their empathy, their sympathy, their kindness. And they use it to exploit them. Oh, you do this or else you're a racist. Do this or else you're a sexist. Do this or else you're a misogynist. Isn't it amazing that the only way to be a good person is to listen to what they say? Isn't that remarkable that to a leftist, the only way to be a good person is to be obedient to them? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that strange? They're right about everything, always. And when they're wrong, oh, it's only because the idiots just didn't get it. They're horrible people, terrible people who need to be so far removed from power. What about Trump? I'll tell you, he's not perfect. I hate what he did with the vaccine. But man, we need to put a halt on this high-speed train wreck that we have with globalism coming. We need to hollow out the Democratic machine as much as possible. We need to find out who in the bureaucracy is there specifically for their political orientation. How deep have these communists, and that's what they are. Let's just be honest. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's pull back the veil. They're communists. How deep have these global communists infiltrated our government?
Looks like Brett Patterson says, pretty sure George Soros is trying to short the dollar, which explains why they're trying to destroy this country.
100%. 100%. And, the whole thing with the, digital currency, I'm not convinced. I'm a big crypto guy. I love crypto. I love what it stands for. But, man, the more research I do, I'm not convinced that Bitcoin is not an NSA project and that they haven't already found their central bank digital currency. But, anyway. It's just something to think about on this Monday here. Gerard versus Evil. We'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday. We're going to go 3:30 to 4:30 every day here, guys, whenever I don't have a show. My last show for the summer is going to be this Thursday in Boca Raton, Florida. Last week was incredible. Thank you to everybody that came out to Kansas City, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa. We had a ton of fun. Loved those shows. Loved those venues. Thank you to everybody that came out. Hope you had fun too. My next show, my last show for the summer, is in Boca Raton, Florida, Thursday night at Sad Man Comedy Cafe. And as always, TelyRx.com, that's TelyRx.com, is the future of telehealthcare. Why go to the doctor's office? Why sit in urgent care, wait to have your name called, go see a doctor that you barely know and you don't trust, to have them give you a prescription for you to then go to the CVS, put the prescription in, have to wait an hour, come back and get it. What an ordeal. Multiple copays, an entire day wasted just to get a prescription. Never again should you or your loved ones have to go through that. TelyRx.com, TelyRx.com. You'll have a telehealth consultation with a doctor right there on your phone. They'll prescribe you medication, which will be sent to your door within 24 hours. The easiest way to get healthcare and to get medication in America is telyrx.com, TELYRX.com. Yes, they have Ozempic. Yes, they have semaglutide. Yes, they have erection medication. Whatever it is you need, TelyRx has it. All right. And if you use code SNT, you'll get 20% off of your first order. That's telyrx.com, code SNT for 20% off. Tell them that Gerard sent you. Skyler, you have anything to take us out before we go?
I do not.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we will see you guys tomorrow. This has been Gerard Michaels. Follow on all the socials. Take care.